Hi, I'm Shannon Abdul-Latif, a unique presenter, and I am making my video on the Splurge um, Cream Shadow that I promised for my party earlier today, June 7th. And I am going to start with the Dainty because honestly it's my favorite. And I didn't think I could like anything more than Elegant, and probably when I get Tenacious, Tenacious will be my new favorite, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But when I first saw the three come out, we saw them in pictures be announced in March for the March launch. I thought Splurge was going to be more grayish, silver, not gray, silver. And then I ran into a friend of mine about a month ago, and she was wearing it. She already has a unique person, so darn, it's that sale. But she was wearing Dainty. I was wearing Elegant. She was wearing it by itself, and I hadn't really thought to do it that way. Because I love playing with shadows, so I love my pigments. And I only had the Elegant at the time. I hadn't gotten the Splurge. Anyway, I hadn't gotten the Dainty. She showed me how it was so purple, and I was in love and couldn't wait to get it and jumped right on it. So I'm going to start with that one, especially since I already have the Savvy lip stain on right now. Can you see that? Nope, you see the back of it. The stiff upper lip stain. Yes. This is not my normal video camera that I'm using, so bear with me. Okay. So just so you know, to catch you up, I have already done my face regimen. So my face has already been cleaned, and I've already used all my moisturizers that I'm going to use. I use Rodan and Fields. I have my refreshed rose water here, and then I apply a dime size amount of the Glorious primer. Okay. And then I go over my face with just a little bit of a darker Moodstruck Minerals concealer. I'm sorry. And this is in Fierce. So it's kind of hard to see, especially when you're going to get things moving. But that's the concealer. That is it in Fierce. And Fierce is one of the darker colors. So I use that on my whole face very lightly. And then I do my highlights. And my highlights are done in BB Flawless. I love BB Flawless cream because it is very light. It does everything that the instructions or the website says that it does. Everything Younique says that the BB Flawless cream does, it does. It's nourishing, it's hydrating, and it really is multitasking. It's a tint. So it's a complexion enhancer. So it would be your what people would normally be using as their and I never used to use creams. I always liked my Studio Fix from MAC that had my pressed powder and everything in it. But this is so light and creamy, and I just love the way it feels. I mean, it just feels awesome, and I like the idea of highlighting. So I do the light color like they do up here and here, and I go here and around my cheek, up under my eyes, and then, my cheek, and here my chin. And then I come back with, and this is in caramel, by the way, for my skin complexion. This color that I'm using here is caramel. And then I come and do my dark lights or my low lights in chestnut. And that's just basically for my inner. And then the top of my head to get that so that the highlight part really highlights. Okay. So I've done all that. So then I come back over it with what I like to use is, and I was telling my friend last night, the Mineral Touch Pressed Powder, and I'm using it in Charmeuse. But what I like to do is actually add Foxy which is a lighter colored over fierce concealer. Again, and I add some of the Foxy Mineral Concealer to my Mineral Touch. Okay, so I've done that in advance. So this is not something that takes me 1,000 hours in the morning to do. I've done that in advance. I add some to the inside of my pressed powder just to make my pressed powder a little bit lighter, since that's what I'm using to finish my face off. And since I've already used a cream on my face, even though I've only used it mostly as a highlighter and I'm using it lightly, I still know that the pressed powder has a cream and powder foundation mixed in it. It has a foundation mixed with the pressed powder, with the powder in it. So I don't want a heavy finish. So this kind of gives me a lighter finish, and the two of them together I found, and I really like that. And it also helps for me keep the oil down. And then of course, I finish it off with my Beachfront Sunkiss bronzer. As soon as bronzers came out, I was all about it. I've been on bronzers for 2 years. I love them. I love them. I love just the way, especially in the summer, with the way it just makes your cheeks, you right here and up here and pop, boom. I just love that extra little color. So let's get to it. So it's important to use the right tools, of course. So we've been lucky because last month the Splurge Shadows, Cream Shadows, came with the brush. And again, this month in the Kudos special, it comes with the Cream Shadow brush. And it's important to have the right tools, I think. Ever since brushes got popular, that's really all I use. I rarely use an applicator. Now, I know a lot of people, I think, were using applicators with the cream shadows, and that's fine if that works for you. I think it's kind of a waste. You waste more cream than you get. And this is the perfect size. It's one of your short. It's very thin in the brush bristles, and it's not going to absorb a lot. And it's like that on purpose. There's a reason for that. So, like I said, my eyes and everything's prepped and ready. So I'm going to go in, and I always start, and I've seen people do it different ways, and I'm going to be looking at the mirror and you. But I start on my lid, and I take it up into my crease. Now, I've seen a lot of people wear it by itself, and I think that's perfectly fine. I like adding more than one color. I always have. So for me, I like the idea of adding the pigments to it. What I have found, though, is with Elegant being so light, it didn't really affect the way it affects the pigments differently. I may not be able to get to that in this video because I talked about how I prepped my face, but the Dainty, on my color, on the color of my skin, it actually does have a strong effect on my pigments that I use. So the purple comes through. It's really, really pretty. And I'm thinking that the light is not really doing it justice on how pretty the purple looks. So that fluorescent, so I think that's better. That fluorescent light on my eye wasn't doing it justice. So that's what Dainty looks like without the pigments. Okay, I'm going to come back and apply shadows after this.